Greetings and blessings, and welcome, dear friends. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator, and I do continue to pray each and every day that each and every will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many benefits and blessings from the universe. So happy it's official, it's Sunday. It's 12:15 a.m. in 2022. So I hope everybody's getting along as well as possible. Hope your 4th of July was better than mine. Lord have mercy. The topic for this morning, because it's morning now, is yin and yang and some interesting little tidbits that kind of crossed my meditation contemplation area and said, Yo, Hawkeye, do you know about this? And I was like, Holy crap, maybe not. Hey, Richard, how are you? Good to see you. Jules and Barry and Pearl. And I thought there was somebody else. Oh, Jody, if you're there. And Tracy. Hi. Yeah, well, take a good nap, take a good somber sleeping and all that. Good. Well, I was like for crap last Sunday and Monday and into Tuesday and into Wednesday. And what day is this? Saturday? Not a clue what it was. It still feels like it's wanting to hang on, but I'm getting a few things done, but really slow. Um, but for those of you wonderful people who have been keeping up with me and my, I have doctor's appointment on August the 22nd. It's official. Got stuff already in the works. So for those folks who have painfully stood by and said, why don't this dumb son of a bitch just call up and make it? Well, this dumb son of a bitch finally got through to the right doctors. The information about the doctor and his offices, where they're located, is all wrong. All wrong. Hey, Mark, how are you? All wrong. The phone number, it was to a different group of doctors. It was just all wrong. And so after, getting that mess cleared up for myself, um, several of the doctors I called around, and if they were taking new patients, which many of them are not, um, you won't take a new patient. No, I got too many people. I'm already looking at it. Really? Well, but I'm just one more. Yeah, but. It was interesting that it would take at least a month to get to see an official doctor. But this same doctor's office group, Sterling Corp or company, anyway, three or four doctors together, and they blah blah blah, and they merge, and they share space. It ain't bad, but so my doctor is not quite the same guy that's on my card. Interesting. And he's going to be a new doctor into the area, so I'm looking forward to meeting this chap and saying, "Hey, dude, what's up?" But anyway, so I do have that in the works, and now that I know that they have a physician's assistant that operates as just an open clinic. So the couple of minor things that are trying to turn into major things, I can just go to the clinic. So I'm like, sweet deal. And it'll be within the same doctor's group. So I actually am looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward. I have to have, it's time for me to have another, my dear neighbor saw him yesterday. He goes, I just had a colonoscopy. And I went, oh my God, that's what I got to get scheduled because it's been that many years. And I'm like, man, I really don't feel like getting the tube up the rectum. You know, Wrecked him. Hell, it damn near killed him. You know, that's the wrecked him. What? Damn near killed him. Hey, Chloe. But anyway, so that's just a little bit of personal update stuff. And oh, by the way, the truck is running. Knock on wood. It's not faltering or leaving me on the side of the road. So I've had a little bit of good luck, even though like this last Sunday, Monday, I was like, oh, whatever this mess is I got is sure knocking me down. But like I said, I'm a stubborn old coot. And so me and Doug have been getting out when we can. Um, the rain that we've had the last 2 days, we had 3 inches of rain in like a couple of hours. I mean, the driveway is washed out. I mean, like washed out, bumpity bumping places. Uh, that was leak. I got a leak overhead, and it drips up from the peak down inside the ceiling, and drips in the hole where the fan is mounted up above my head. So when it starts raining, the raindrops hit the fan blades and get slung all around. So there's what up there and there's what over here and stuff. And I mean, it was really coming down. Holy mackerel. So, but the interesting thing is when we went to town just after it rained, the from here to Coolidge is about 8 miles. Some of the ditches were just as full as you could just, I mean, up there and muddy. And then other places didn't look like it rained at all. So it's been a hit and miss around here. But these last 2 days, I poured out the rain gauge. It was 4 inches, a little over 4 inches in one. The other one lies. So, but anyway, so this contemplation thing about yin and yang. And there were folks who were, well, that's the Chinese. I mean, it's the Japanese. No, it's the Chinese. Just set yourself straight on that, because I wasn't straight. So I was like, so yin and yang. Well, so yin is the female, and oh, by the way, it's a 20. Is it? Is it? I think. Hey, Susie Q. Oh, it's 2023. Oh. 12:23. Excuse me. There goes Doug's bark again. I opened up the door because it's still got a lot of rain. The grass is wet outside, and he wants to take him. He'll bark, but he ain't gonna run after him. So, so cheers, everybody. Platinum. Really humid too. Oh, God Almighty. Now I don't have air conditioning in the house that's hooked up. Okay, and I've been doing this fan thing. So the very high ceilings in here with the fan blowing down all the hot air. Then I close the windows up at night. I mean, I'm sorry, in the daytime, early in the morning. And then it keeps the house cool on the inside. Now it was like 100 degrees the other day, and it was 86 in the house. Now anywhere where the fan wasn't blowing, it was like a hot house. But it was 100 outside, so it was. If you went outside and came back in, you could tell that it's a lot cooler in the house. But anyway, so especially for my trying to conserve energy, and also to keep my body acclimated to the current temperature around. Because if the lights go out, like when the hurricane came a couple of years ago, it was so sticky and muggy. Oh my God. And without a fan, there was no place to go. Everybody was out of electricity. And I ended up rigging up a 12-volt fan that you stick on the visor of a truck or vehicle or whatever, and got through. So let me talk about this yin and yang thing. So y'all doing okay? I gotta go to this other screen thingy here. Um, Now you could read this from Wikipedia, but I'm just going to give you this background here a little bit. In ancient Chinese philosophy, yin and yang is a Chinese philosophical concept. That's a bunch of double talk right there, right? Um, a philosophical concept that describes how obviously opposite or contrary forces may actually be complementary. So it's like, no, no, and yes, okay. Like right now, in America, it's the pro-choice and the knowers, right? No, you shouldn't do that. No, you can't do that. Not in this state, anyway. And so, um, I've talked about the Roe Wade thing before, and that this is not the place to discuss it at the moment. But it is about how both factions must exist for the other one to exist. So if everybody just said, yeah, okay, no problem, back to the States, nobody got mad, nobody picketed, there's like folks that were in DC today to protest. We want it back, give it back. Well, it was never a law. I mean, there's just so much, honest to God, real legislative issues, and that when the judges looked at the facts, they said, "Nah, we we can't have this." And having been, incarcerated many times myself, and having had to watch the, real life court jesters in person, and the dancing and playing around that goes in courtrooms and behind the scenes and stuff, it really is a madhouse. Um, the yin and yang of things must exist. So what I was thinking earlier about this, before I got down into the nitty gritty of what it's, yin and yang is a philosophy. Oh, okay. Let's keep that in mind. Um, that obviously opposite or contrary forces may actually be complementary. It's the chaos. Without chaos, if it was light all the time and there was no darkness, if there was darkness all the time and no light, um, that these might actually be complementary, interconnected, and independent and interdependent in the natural world. Now that's a big pile of gobbledygook right there. In the natural world, and how they may give rise to each other as they interrelate to one another. Now, that doesn't really describe anything, but I get it actually. In Chinese cosmology, the universe creates itself out of a primary chaos of material energy. How about that mess, right? So, keep losing my praise. So it creates itself out of a primary chaos of material energy, organized into the cycles of yin and yang. That'd be like, in order to cough, you have to draw air in and then cough. So it's almost like breathing in a way. So if you breathe in, then automatically got to breathe out. Okay, let's see. So these material energies are organized into the cycles of yin and yang and formed into objects and lives. Yin is the receptive and yang is the active principle, seen in all forms of change and difference, such as the annual cycle, the landscape, sexual coupling, the formation of both men and women as characters, and socio-political history. Now that's a lot of jargon, eh? Tai Chi or Tai Chi is a Chinese cosmological term for the supreme ultimate of undifferentiated absolute and infinite potential, the oneness before duality from which yin and yang originate. It can be compared with the old Wuji. Now, did any of that really sink in? Uh, Not really. Not really. I'm still getting rained on by that blade up there. So here's the thing that in the idea of yin and yang, both the male and the female must exist. Well, that's strange. That looks like you're behind me back there. What is that? Hmm. Anyway, finally a path for Hawkeye. What, you talking about the rain? Oh, never mind. Um, so in my, my concept of like over the years, I've been praying for world peace, right? I still pray for peace. But the other day while I was being sick and throwing up and stuff, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I thought I felt bad the other day. At least I wasn't up chucking and messing. Holy crap. And well, wait a minute. But so in life, although the times of me up chucking lately is like maybe twice in the last 3 or 4 years have I thrown something up that I could remember anyway. And so the good has to come with the bad. So I've had lots more days now in the yin and yang of things. I've had lots more days without no upchucking than I have, blacking all over the place. So, but in this yin and yang of things, the balance is I have been well more than I have been sick to my stomach. Okay. So, but at some other point, like death, it's going to catch up with you, right? Because you have to keep that the balance. So, but in that though, and I've talked about this years ago about the harmony within the chaos, and that it's like you can get two or three noise together, and if you just and I've done it when I'm working in of all places, a cotton gin where they take the seeds out of the cotton and fluff it all up and bale it up for sale. And you can hear if there's a blower that's jammed, that there's an interruption, and all these different blowers and machines, it's noisy as, let me tell you. And you can put in earplugs, but then it's still really noisy. But the guys in the gin, who especially have been working there for a while, they can hear when something's going on way up top where the motors fluff up the cotton and keep it moving around so that when it doesn't get stuck anywhere on its way down to the gin to have the seeds taken out. It's an amazing process. It really is. And now it's computer controlled and stuff. But if a motor decides to get hot and a bearing seizes up, and you'll hear this squeal. Above all this cacophony of noises, you can hear this fan, the bearing in it start to go out. And it's a different sound. Hey, Barry, how are you? Activated garlic works great for coughs. Yeah, well, this is more or less stimulated by me smoking at the moment. Yeah. But so anyway, the yin and yang of things. So, here's all these alien races. There are all of these countries here on this planet. And we're all, in one way or another, praying for peace. We don't want no more stinking wars or nothing like that. We're all fed up with this mess, right? And the people who fight it and all that kind of good, horse, as Drake Bailey says, horse hockey. Um, and just hockey in general, and I don't mean the one with the puck. You could say puck you, right? Never mind. Tampa Bay almost got it again this year. The Stanley Cup, by the way. I saw the next to the last game, and man, they were playing hard. But anyway, so good on you, Bucks, for getting to the end, but not winning the trophy. Well, but you were second place. No, I honestly haven't been coughing. This will stimulate it. So the yin and yang of here's the deal. We can't get rid of war. What? Because without the war, there won't be this very peaceful to the other side. It swings back and forth, and to try to get itself settled in as balanced. So if there was no war and everybody was kung fu fighting. Oh God Almighty! Uh, get we passed as lightning. Oh my God! Speaking of lightning, outside the house this afternoon, I sent. I think it was Barry. I sent a text, and I was discussing the rain and the thunder, and it was a frog strangler, and rained so hard the frogs just they get strangled in it. So I hit the send button, and there was this flash of light right outside the window. It must have happened like very close, and it hit something. I'll have to check the trees. But I mean, it was like flash boom, and all the windows in the house rattled, and poor old Duggar was like, "What the is that?" You know, but it was really close. I mean, there was no 1/1000. There was, it was like flash boom. A little bit exciting, yeah. Everybody was kung. Now I can't get the damn thing out of my head. Everybody was kung fu fight. It's all line dance. But anyway, so I was like, as I was contemplating this, and I thought to myself, then what in WTF am I spending all this energy, all this praying, and that there's going to be peace across the whole planet? And wait a minute, then that defies the laws of yin and yang. But I don't want no more stinking war. Yeah, but for some reason, there's something's always got to be chaotic to keep stuff stirred up, or who knows. But then the contemplation got to be serious, and I was like, wait a minute, you mean we'll never get rid of war because of this philosophy? But in nature, though, the yin and yang of things shows itself all the time. And as the shaman's journey, it's the duty of the shaman to try to best understand it, so that when people need guidance or a little bit of clarification, the shamans had a chance to contemplate this stuff, right? So I was thinking to myself, oh, yin and yang, well, I can see it positive and negative, and not negative necessarily, like a magnet has a positive and a negative end, right? And so that said, you go, wait a minute now. So in order for that electric motor to run, it switches from the positive side of the magnet to the negative, and it makes it spin. Oh, holy crap! So there's yin and yang in electric motors, um, and any types of things like it. Okay, if it's a spinning apparatus of some time, it's probably requiring some kind of energy or juice. So, and that means that magnetism is involved because it's the switching, alternating current, AC. It's the switching on and off of the positive negative that makes these motors spin. Okay. So, in a way, an electric motor is a good way to prove what the Chinese philosophers were yakking about, because both conditions happen within the electric motor. It puts out this, but at the same time, it acts as a negative, then a positive, and a negative. So it is always yin and yanging this electric fan over here. But it's going so fast. I swear, y'all, I haven't been coughing all day. But some of these herbs are a little stronger than others when you inhale and exhale. So, in my contemplation of this, um, now I'm sick as a dog. I can't do much anything else. So I'm like, okay, let me hit this bowl a couple of times and lay down, and y'all just show me what you got on this. Take me on the journey of what do you mean by this yin and yang stuff. Now, being a Libra, right on the cusp, like the 24th, when the 23rd is the switch date. So much of me is a Virgo. It's been hard to like like myself, because the Virgo wants to be like this, and then the Libra wants to be like this. The Virgo wants to argue, and the Libra is like, no, calm down. I have my buckets outside. If you mean the rain, Barry, and in here, and it must still be spitting out little pieces of raindrops inside the house because of the leak. I swore I was going to have that roof fixed by the time I got my age I am now. But anyway, so the yin and yang of things, it's the male and the female. Let me go back to um, this other thing. I can't share the screen, but I want to go back to this other thing and continue on. So the thoughtco.com, yin and yang, or yin yang, is a complex relational concept in Chinese culture that has developed over thousands of years. Briefly put, the meaning of yin and yang is that the universe is governed by a cosmic duality, sets of two opposing and complementing principles cosmic energies that can be observed in nature. Now that's the thought code. Yin, this is Britannica rather than Wikipedia. Yin is a symbol of earth, femaleness, darkness, passivity, and absorption. It is present in even numbers, okay, in valleys and streams, and is represented by the tiger, the color orange, and a broken line. Yang is conceived of as heaven, maleness, light, activity, and most of all, penetration. Now, that was Britannica. Personal Tao, Yin Yang, everything about, okay, balancing. The word yin comes out to mean shady side, and yang, the sunny side. So yin yang is the concept of duality forming a whole. Electric motor. We encounter examples of yin and yang every day. As examples, night is yin and the daytime is yang, female yin and male yang. Over thousands of years, quite a bit has been sorted and grouped under various yin yang classification systems. And they got a system for this mess. I was like, okay, it's just good and evil. It's short and tall. I don't know. I was just like, ain't that what it is? Well, apparently not just that, which is a good thing, I think. World history. In Chinese mythology, yin and yang were born from chaos when the universe was first created, and they believed to exist in harmony at the center of the earth. During the creation, their achievement of balance in the cosmic egg allowed for the birth of Pangu or Pangu or the first humans. So we were born out of the center of the earth, supposedly. Now that is from worldhistory.org. Yin Yang Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Here, yin and yang are the Q of the universe. These Q flows within the natural as well as the human worlds. That's what it says. These Q flow within the natural as well as the human world. What, the human world is not natural? Just saying. They are the basic fabric of existence. Heaven and earth have their regular ways, and men like these for their pattern, imitating the brilliant bodies of heaven, and accordingly with the natural diversities of the earth. That really doesn't make a whole lot of what the, did they just write this down? Some of this philosophy stuff is just so, I swear they got to make it complicated on purpose. Otherwise, it's not worth contemplating. Yin and Yang, what does the symbol mean? This was written in February 24th, 2021. The Yin Yang symbol is often referred to as Taitu. I'm murdered that. In China, it's a familiar symbol you've likely seen many times on jewelry, clothes, etc. There are many variants um, of the symbol, but the most common is a circle composed of two interlocking swirls or teardrops, one black and one white. Each swirl has a dot of the opposite color in it. So the white side has a black dot, black side got a white dot. In Chinese is one of the most popular principles, yin and yang. In Chinese culture, it is a principle that explains or represents the duality of things and the idea that two completely opposite elements or characteristics can actually exist harmoniously while also complementing each other. So, there's the keep it on the sunny side, always on the sunny side, keep it on the sunny side of life. And then there's, you know, so you got the good and you got the bad, the yin and the yang. Now, the earlier on, I was giving the females a little bit of a hard time where they're like, moody and blah, blah. Yeah, okay, well, when it's that time of month, ladies, we all know it's true. Um, Yin and Yang can also refer to the contrast. I like this one. It's psych, psychology. Okay. To the contrast between darkness and light and the night and day, water and fire, cold and hot, passive and active, introversion and extroversion, and so on and so on. In the context of this test, the meaning of yin and yang is adapted from Chinese traditional medicine. So, of this, the yin and yang of things, my biggest thing that I wanted to pass along to everybody is that in order to have balance, there's going to have to be some mischief. So, as much as we want to clean up the universe of all the bad entities and aliens and whoever, I mean, get rid of mosquitoes, get rid of ticks. Oh my God, then a little bloodthirsty, hang on, you give you Lyme's disease creepers. So, but the idea that I realized that I can pray for peace and harmony, but it's never going to be completely peaceful. I mean, in the universe, there are explosions going on the moon, on the moon. Oh God, that may be on the moon too. That was a Freudian slip. But that the solar radiation that we're getting from the sun, is throwing off all these flares. So we're getting it. So is the moon. I mean, this whole solar system is getting whacked with different types of energies and feelings and stuff. And some of us can feel it, and others are just oblivious to it. But here's the thing: in watching people's characters in the last 6 or 8 months, at least, including myself at times, where I just go, dee dee dee, dee dee dee. I just had a Biden moment. You know, I couldn't read my cue card. Um, you know, him reading that thing the other day. To having been a public figure all his life. I mean, for me, now I do this without notes. I got a couple of notes up here stored someplace, and maybe a word or two. But I mean, if I was to prepare for something, I'd take at least a week to be able to analyze and uh, you know classify whatever I was going to be speaking about. And that's why sometimes I got to think on this for a day or two because there's a lot of nuances. So it isn't just black or white. Um, ACD, ACD, Never mind. Rock group, ACDC. Because I'm very much of the duality in me. The guy that swears and swaggers and used to be an alcoholic and never was much for fighting or nothing. But can we have an argument? Okay, sure. But there were times when folks wanted to punch me in the nose when it was all said and done. Just had that knack for it, uh, pissing people off, I guess. But I would be very cruel about it, and that's just not nice at all. So, but as we supposedly on our journey as shamans or people or light beings, however you want to term your personal life. For me, I want to just try to get it right, right? After messing up for so many years. So here's the thing: the light and the dark must exist at the same time. One can't go over there and hide for a while. They have to exist at the same time because they're part of the yin yang combination. So it's like it's really hot under the earth. Well, but here's the thing: if you go down into the earth only so far, it stays cool. Inside caves, caverns, and such. You walk in there, and oh my goodness, right? It's totally different. While the outside's just a scorching and burning and hotting and heating, whatever it's going to do. So you can still get bombarded even by some of these rays, even down deep in a mountain. But the idea, though, that both can exist. Now you go into the earth, into a cavern, it's 65, sometimes even cooler than that. But if you go deeper, you run into magma, and that's a volcano waiting to happen, right? So it's cool, and then it gets warm. So both exist at the same time, you see. So the earth is yin yang, and that both exist. The North Pole, South Pole, they both have snow on them, right? It's colder on one end than it is on the other. Just certain things are true. Well, that's because we're in summertime, and then folks down in Australia, they're the ones, and down under, they're the ones that are getting cold right now, right? So, it's been a minute. Okay, I'm just like what? So anyway, with this said though, the yin and yang, I was like, well, we will never get rid of war because there has to be the chaos that keeps both of them going. Well, oh holy crap! Then why am I wasting my time on all these freaking prayers to try? I'm praying for peace in the Middle East. I'm praying for peace in in Southside Chicago. I'm praying for peace, on them folks that are in DC right now. Okay, there's nothing wrong with those things, but at the same time today, I'm watching a video of the protesters in Washington, and it's raining up there on and off at the time. And so there's some folks up there that have got these signs and they're all hanging out in different places and stuff. And I'm just like, you're walking in public like that? All right. But they want the right to choose. And some of these people, I don't know if they plan to have any children on purpose or not, right? But this idea that somehow everyone must bow to these people's whims. Now, I'm all for the women's right to choose. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, like I said, when you hold little fetus parts in your hand that was once your child living and breathing in a womb, you have a tendency to change your attitude. So I think there needs to be a little bit more graphic with people. I mean, taken in there and say, this is what we do. That's your child. Are you paying attention? You know, have this child and allow, these other folks who can't have children, let them adopt it. And you can know where they are, you can keep tabs, and they can, um, with everybody wanting to know everybody else's business these days with, oh my God, did you see the twerking senator? I'm sorry. This vision. Oh my God. Uh, it's hard not to think about it once you, holy mackerel. Hey, Richard, how are you? Um, Standing in our hands twerking, I was like, oh my God. And, for everybody twerk for, abortion rights. I think some of these events are starting to show some folks as like true colors or mentalities or something. I mean, twerking upside down to try to get your point across that women should have the right to have it. Okay, but it's the yin and yang of it. There are those of us like me that have actually seen body parts and things and stuff, and we've changed our attitudes. I still think it's the woman's right, but I'm going to talk the hell out of her, and you know, because I would have had two more children had that not happened, and God knows where they would have been because they would have been younger than my than Samuel or Jackie, so it would have been interesting. One would be like 25 or going on maybe 30. The other a little younger, maybe in the teens at around this time. So what they could have been, and they could have been my nursemaids in my old life and helped me out around here, helped me out around the farm. But that works both ways. But to the point though, we'll never know. I'll never know. But it's a wonderment. It's part of that contemplation. So there's the yin and the yang in that. So there are people standing up for the women, and there are other folks. Oh, absolutely, Mark. It's an insane asylum. It really is. And the powers that be, um, the we're just going to just in general the bad guys, right? So they're mad about this because more babies will survive the abortion clinics because it's going to be tougher for other people to get to a clinic. But Planned Parenthood is going to help you. They're already devising ways that if you need a ride to another state, you can be bused there or flown there, whatever the thing is, right? Um, okay. So that's a powder keg for whatever the reasons are. And I've been watching the news to see what was going on. So as that today happened, men and women were tying green handkerchiefs onto the fence at the White House. And they were going to push them back, way back when somewhere somebody had the presence of mind and said, you know what? Let's just hang on here a minute. So they tried to take some of them down and then they backed off and went to the other side of the street and said, these people ain't causing no harm. They were sitting down there on the curb and people were coming up and tying the handkerchiefs to all the green things and stuff. And they decided that they would just let them go as long as they were peaceable. And so there was some bullhorns and stuff, but when they got ready, they folks just got up, walked down the street, and were gone, and left all these handkerchiefs hanging on the fence. So now all it had to have been was one cop person and somebody else to go, I'm putting up with this shit. And then there would have been arrests. Then there would have been beatings and who knows what else it could have been. But it did not take place. And I was watching whoever was videoing and, live streaming. I was like, come on, guys, just don't go pushing, shoving it on either side. Neither one of you need to be pushing and shoving. Just keep it simple. You don't have to agree with one another. Just don't fight. Just. And so there were, a couple hundred people, and the cops are like, "Man, I'm glad that turned out well because they didn't have to, bust any heads or etc." So we human beings, even when we're so fraught with intimidation, because these people were feeling intimidated in that I can't have an abortion. Well, no offense, lady, but you're 55. That time when is out, okay? But just saying, or more than likely it's out. There are miracles. Um, so what was interesting to me about the topic, where there are women who are, you know, are going through menopause right now. Every time they see a male, they just pause and stare with deep intent. I hate you, you mofo. Anyway, so, but if there are simpler things that we can do um, to keep the balance, but I honestly realized, I said, that there will never, ever be, will it be truly peaceful for a long time? Because lightning will strike and cause a wildfire. Well, there wasn't a fire there before. Nobody said it, but nature said, zzz, and starts a fire. Well, wait a minute, though. Yeah, man didn't do it. His house burned down because of it, but he didn't do it. Did he cause it by living there? No, not really. Um, was there any causality to why the people on the earth, are getting terrified and tormented by Mother Earth herself, right? Storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, oh my God, volcanoes. Um, so now what do we do? Because the chaos has got to be there. Well, here's one thing we can do. We can minimize the drastic on both sides. You become so euphoric that you just literally float out into the universe. And adios. Now, that would sort of be akin to what was discussed at, how Jesus got up and walked out the tomb with the two angels and everything, and he definitely knew his stuff. And then disappeared for a while, and he had to go down to, get himself a good, healthy breakfast. He had, because God Almighty had a spirit wound. So of course he's down at Denny's having a breakfast pack. Or Abdul, whoever's morning mystical egg. And we will be serving that with fresh goat's milk if you'll just hold on. Abib, yeah, they got me there. Anyway, I'm sorry. It gets the pictures in my brain get a little, what time is it? It's 1:10. But Mark, here's the thing though. that in watching some things, that we can change the vibrations. The wars could be arguments, okay? The wars could be, a javelin thrower on either end of an open field, or throwing discuses at each other, you know. And if you've never ever thrown a discus, it's different. Um, so the yin and yang of things. So war doesn't have to be nuclear, but there has to be this opposing sides of things. I'm just looking at it and thinking, well, mostly, with this tree comes up and this one goes down, something dies and then is replaced by these weeds, where we bulldozed and burned out there. There are these huge poke salad plants, um, uh, almost as tall as my head, big leaves, beautiful, and they're just getting ready to put out them. Hey, can I have some of your purple berries? Yes, I've been eating them for 6 or 7 weeks now. Only got sick ones, probably keep us both alive. Wooden ships on the water. And never mind, musical sidetrack. But in this rough old world, had watched this comedy show of Carlos Mencia, and he's a crazy dude. And he's not really a beaner, but he calls himself one and grew up in East LA, like, Cheech and Chong did. But I was born in East LA. Never mind. Um, Cheech and Chong's greatest hits. But there will be groups of holy people that just want to congregate with each other and do. And then there are those folk who like to beat each other up, and they go somewhere and they have kickboxing matches, bare knuckle champions. And okay, so a pugilistic society. But in all honesty, though, and looking at history, like forever, there are those folks who are calm and stately, and it's okay to be that way. But here's the thing: Mother Earth is always going to be reacting. So somebody somewhere is going to be too hot, too cold, too something. All right. So that's the opposite of like being joyful and happy. And ooh, Mother Nature is giving me, a personal air conditioner today. It's only 72 degrees outside. Oh my God, it feels great. Okay, so, but as much as we want to say it, that and the duality of a person. Wait a minute. The way some of these folks toss around this um, mutual oneness or something, I'm not quite sure. The duality of things. Well, I know I've got my good side and I've got my shady side, and I want to stay on the sunny side of life. And I don't want to be that nasty, irritating SOB that I can be. Somewhere along the line, I learned compassion. Like, no, don't do that to that poor person. You know what they are. Um, and a dirty look sometimes is all it takes. So, who out there among us is going to throw the first rock, right? And if somebody's being pushed down because they've got either too much yang or not enough yang or something, and which means that folks are out of balance. Well, you can look around the world right now and answer that question with we're out of balance, both literally the earth moving and wiggling, and but energetically, right? And they keep throwing stuff at us to keep us in that chaotic state. So we have to become the observer. Remember, you got to take the observer position in order to survive this, because you can ignore things. You know that they've happened. It's not like you're trying to um, no, there was never a 9/11. There weren't any airplanes for real, but there were rockets with bombs, but they weren't real airplanes. That driver's license just happened to fall between two buildings, along with that GE motor that should have been a Pratt Whitney that was stuck in between two buildings, and they couldn't get it out. So, but anyway, there are realities which you look at and go, wait a minute, something's wrong with that picture. And that's because that's prefabrication by them folks that want to keep you in your crazy state of mind. So there's something I listened to within the last 2 days, and it was like, how many kids are on psychotropic drugs? I mean, in grade school and middle school and high school, there are these kids that are taking all these, mind altering drugs for bipolar and this and that. Oh my God. So we don't know what the status of mind of some of these kids are, because they're being artificially manipulated in some way because they're not themselves. So now it's a subtle war. They're not killing each other per se, but they're hiding out in the darkness with yin. And we need to pull them curtains back and say, okay, Yang, it's time for you to come out and take over and give these folks a pep talk. Now that's the yin and yang. So the yin part, everybody's pissed and head down, blah blah, and then yang is supposed to be the male that stands up and says, "All right, y'all, come on, we got this. Come on, you apes. Want to live forever? Starship Troopers." I'm sorry, my mind is just absolutely just whacked out. But anyway, I love you all. I do. So as much as I want eternal peace. That's why even in the Bible it says, after all this stuff happens, there's going to be 1,000 years of peace. And I've been asking this for a long time. That I keep mentioning it. Why only 1,000 years? And if the Yin Yang philosophy is true at that point, you could say, well, 1,000 years of peace, we have to have the other now to kind of swing it back, to keep the chi, to keep that energy in the same place for whatever reason. But so it's been an interesting story and an interesting ride. It's 1:19 going on 20. And I got my little bowl here just waiting. Order from the chaos they create. It's I just thought it was like a symbol of good and bad, right? But even if it stays that simple and both sides are equal, then there's still going to be some nasty shenanigans going on in order to keep the balance. There will always be police because somebody's going to be robbing and stealing and beating up some. I mean, so what? You mean this is why society is sort of morphed into what it is now? In that there's always going to be some bad folk. There's always going to be thieves. There's always going to be this or that. And now, it's all about gender quality or any, who knows what they mean anymore. But um, There's so much confusion far behind. Oh, stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody, look what's going down. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I've got to beware. Mm. Oh, I needed that, Ruby. If I'm not active enough, I get the phlegm to settle in my chest, and it's good to cough it up. So with the yin and yang, so here's the thing. It was an eye opener in that in order to have balance, you got to have as many bad things as there are good things. That's still, as I'm sitting here talking to you about it, it's like it's mind numbing. But at the same time, the universe has acted like this. The good guys, the bad guys, you can look at it as cowboys and Indians or whatever. But um, them poor white red men who saw them ships come to the shores of the Americas, I think they're wishing now that their ancestors had held a ghost dance and sent them folks packing. But anyway, I love you all. I just wanted to get on here and throw this little thing at you. A lot of people using them yin and the yang and things. And do you understand that you can't fill it up fully with love? Because in the universe, it has to have yang, yin, yang. So as much as we want ever to, nobody will ever be bad again. I mean, look at the Star Trek kind of mentality, if you will. And that, they were always running into somebody who was trying to do evil. I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to take over the universe. I'm going to take, I'm going to take subspace and interdimensional beings. Oh, holy crap. But here's the thing, though. The good guys don't always win. There are always casualties of some kind, some fatal, some not so. And life is like that. We need to find our own path, test our own skills, and if we mess up and cut a finger or drop a knife, and you should have your shoes on, and you drop a knife onto your foot and it sticks. I mean, little things like that can go a long way. So you're happy go lucky and everything's nice. You're on vacation, having a wonderful time, and you drop the knife on your foot. That's the yang. There was a song years ago called Clyde. Clyde, oh, that Clyde. If you think that you've got trouble and your trouble starts to double, you can bet your double double bubble gum it's Clyde. You ever have a sunburned back and a fella comes up and gives it a whack? Well, don't look over your shoulder, Jack. That's Clyde. Clyde, oh, that Clyde. He's a feller that'll make you wish you died. And if you think that you've got trouble and your trouble starts to double, you can bet your double bubble gum it's Clyde. So it's sort of like me saying thank you, Bob, to the internet. Do I know this entity? And no, but Clyde seems to exist in this 1962 or three song by these guys I can't remember. A funny song, good harmony, sort of like the Statler Brothers kind of style or something like that. But anyway, so what does this mean in the long run? It means that we're going to have to get used to working with negative energies. We're going to, and I don't mean we're going to have to destroy them and we're going to take over and we're going to conquer them. And no, 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 no. See, that's where we need to cool down. We need to pick some truces, and we need to do our dead level best to hold them. Know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. You can count your money. While you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. So, but anyway, there's some wheeling and dealing and stuff going on right now. I mean, you look out there on the earth and you just go, what the mother are these crazy people up to? And you just, um, we can pray that these people get out of there and we can return a balance. We can do things like them folks did at the White House today, and they protested peacefully, and there was just a bunch of handkerchiefs on the railing when they were done. Okay, is that really defacing property? Is that really, the same kind of crime as holding a gun to somebody's head or something? The answer is no. So, with that said, remember, there's always going to be a little bit of chaos on your spirit journey, in your life. No matter how much you want it to say no, it can't always say it. Yes, there's always going to be some kind of chaos. The rainstorms that came through here today, love the water, but oh my God, did it wash my driveway out. So we have choices. Our choices are simple: to stay in the light, to continue being the observer, and not let it get us down. Because in the yin yang of the order, at least by the Chinese philosophers, is that it does exist. There will always be a nasty side of things lurking in the cosmos, but we got to take it with a grain of stride and say, listen, if I'm going to understand by this thing called balance, then if they kill a bunch of us before we can kill them, it's going to, that those balance beams are going to be off like this. Uh, yeah, be the frequency you wish to receive. Absolutely. Yeah, and I this was 2 years now. This around this time of the year when it happened. But that's right, Mark. Brian and I, we started doing shows together, and everybody was like, "Oh, he started with Wayne," and we started together. And he was one of my he was the 11th subscriber to my channel or something like that. So, but yeah, I miss Brian only in that I can't just have a chat with him, like I used to could do. But I know he's still out there. I know his energy's still out there, and that's a good thing because we should keep that positive side of us, regardless of all this other crazy stuff. And I mean, you can see it, man. They are just throwing shit at us, trying to get pissed off and and folks are being a little calmer. But then I think that with all these energies that are going on, because supposedly we are really in the transition phase right now. I don't know if that's true. We've been told this many times before. I don't know what's up. Do you think there is a duality in higher dimensions like seventh and 11th? But here's the thing about this duality thing, CD, because I've been listening to these philosopher kind of folks for a while and trying to understand what they mean by duality. Now, for me, I've had too many drinks and I've gotten really loud and I want to sing karaoke. And by God, I want to sing it now, you know. Um, but under normal conditions, I'm perfectly fine without having the karaoke. All right. I'm thinking of a party of lots of people, different personalities. But at the same time, with that though, um, some folks who just got an ornery side to them. You know what I mean? Um, so this duality, I know that I have a feminine side that is more caring and nurturing, so forth, than the male side of me, who's out chopping wood and cutting down trees and being a guy. All right, versus being especially this type of female person. All right, is that oh she's whiny and and she doesn't really feel good and she although she's the end of this stuff, it is such that it can almost destroy the women's side of this, where the men are stronger and they've got less crap in a way because they're men, and it's like, oh well, we got a flat tire, we're just going to change it. Oh, woman, oh, got a flat tire, got to call the wrecker. I'm a guy. Now there are women who change tires. Don't get me wrong. But the guy just goes, oh crap, and pulls it out, changes tire on the way. So the yin and yang of things, right? There are a lot of explanations. So pick one, pick the male, pick the female, pick something that they're doing. You know, oh well, these guys are doing this, but why? For example, in politics, which I'll discuss for a moment, you know, for those of you who listen to my video and me talking about Hillary and what is up with her these days, a lot of people are picking up on that. So it's the yin and yang of things. She dropped dead there at the 9/11 thing, and they took her to the brownstone, and 40 minutes out walked this brand new Hillary with no sunglasses and without a cane, and so they made the swap right before our eyes. And why does that matter with the yin and the yang? Because of this personage or entity of, I think, that partially possessed or fully possessed Hillary, was that they promised her she could be the prez, and she didn't get her wish. And sometimes that creates a crap load of animosity to those entities who were promised something and never got it. So in life, that's the way it goes. So we need to monitor these other people. We need to stay physically fit and mentally, you know, alert as much as possible. But in just going out now, I live in a rural community where there are a lot of farmers and a lot of farmers and agriculture. That's what I was going to say. But I go outside at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, whatever time it is, and check out the stars and whatever, and there'll be this foul odor just permeating, just everywhere. I can walk up the hill, I can still smell it, and I verified it in that a friend of mine was here early one morning, and I said, "Now, do you smell that?" And he was like, "You know what, pops? There is some kind of smell." He said, "But I can't tell you what it is, but it's damn sure." And we were standing out in the yard, out here in the country. So weird smells. So people are getting frustrated with the chaos of this and that. And the best that I can tell you is get in your little inner tube and pack you, some stuff that you can get by with. Because everybody's predicting things are going to get worse. Why? Because the big issues have not been settled. The bad guys are still going to be pretty bad. Um, and there are those who are like, look, just go be bad some other place. Yeah, but it's fun to be bad here. Look at all these people that get freaked out and everything. Oh, yeah. You're right about that. And are they going to believe us when we land on the White House lawn? They can get by them fences. But anyway, so um, It's amazing how many people are talking about the serious transition of us. And it does relate to the yin and yang of things because we've had to find our balance. And that's we stub our toe, we make mistakes, we might accidentally shoot somebody we didn't mean to, or who knows. But I'm in observing people in the last 20, let's see, 12 months, 20 to 25 months. So that's a little over 2 years. And walking into the store today, I think one person had a mask on, and folks were opening the doors for other people, like me on my way out with my groceries. And then there were other people in the store, and it was a genuine um, relief to hear some of these people chuckle. Little old lady, maybe about my age, who knows, and she was doing something, and she goes, "Oh my goodness!" And I was like, "I'm sorry, am I in your way?" "Oh no, it's okay." Blah blah. Blah. And there was laughter amongst where there used to be nothing but chaos. People didn't talk to one another. They saw you in the aisle, and they went down another aisle because they didn't want to. They didn't want to catch something. They didn't want to get cooties. So now folks are being cautious, but a lot of these folks have lost a good deal of their fear. But I also think it's people who are more practical, folks who are more into doing their phones and this, that, and the other thing, and bitching about and going here and there and clubbing or whatever. Not that I think clubbing's wrong, but that's their life is there. Like my granddaughter became a pole dancer, and to be a part of that. And so those are choices. We're not made to do them, even though we may have a propensity to like to be that. Um, so let's be ourselves as long as we don't hurt somebody or drag some young child into a situation that they don't need to be in. Like this drag queen who was doing this. Oh, look, this little child dressed in drag was, being taught how to wiggle it for extra tips. Now that's just like, no, we should not be doing that, you know? So, in the realm of reality, which is the yin and yang, some things have gone leaned too far to one side. And what we are experiencing is this the washing machine is, you know, got one sneaker too many on one side, and it's just flopping around all over the place in the spin cycle. And so we're kind of in the spin cycle right now, in that there are people and energies and stuff. And the bottom line is we all need to learn how to get along. We really do. Simply because these other folks are not going to stop until they make the quota. And if it means sinking the whole flipping planet, I'm sorry, the whole state of Florida to kill that many people to get, in one whack, Lord have mercy. But so, my dear friends, we all need to be safe. Like there could be such a thing as a rogue angel. What I understand and my limited experience, what seems to be like tonnage versus what some greenhorns are that have not experienced anything. But anyway, I'm like, man, when you start to really getting it, like I've been talking to some of these folks, and they go, well, Hawkeye, man, I had this feeling and blah, blah, blah. And then you was like right on the edge too, wasn't you? Yeah, 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 yeah. I get what you mean now. Okay, well, we have to experience these things. If I've had a car repossessed years ago, And I was like, I won't ever let this shit happen again. But there are people who have vehicles or whatever repossessed all the time. Um, so we've got these folks existing. So if we can just calm them down, and this is a horrible way to look at it, but if we can teach the bad guys not to kill them, if they got to beat them up really bad or whatever, okay, but do you got to kill them? Well, the population and this, that, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, maybe if you'd have tried different tactics instead of this idea of planned motherhood years ago, that we might not have this so-called crisis. I don't think what the Court did on their decision um, was so monumentally, um, oh my God, we're all going to die. I, I had no idea it would draw this much attention. So we need to be cool, calm, and deflective, because we don't want we don't want their mindset to contaminate our space. So got to keep an eye on them. Got to state our ground. But energy wise, it's yin and yang. There's gonna be some of this that just ain't right. There may always be a pedophile hanging out in the showers, or the showers, yeah, that too. But out in the shrubbery somewhere, like Aqualung. And yes, but they were talking about this, that there were older women, you foxes out there who might call yourself a MILF, right? But the idea, though, that with that word, or what it means, um, is that women, if they seduce a young man or a young woman, that it's nowhere near as bad as a man going up to a 14-year-old girl and making a proposition or whatever. Well, wait a minute, they're still only 14. So, but this double standard of, well, if a woman were to go to this 14-year-old girl and say, oh, honey, all these men are alike, and wouldn't it be nice if you could learn how to have pleasure and let me show you how, blah, blah, blah. And so now you've got an overabundance of, no offense, ladies, of lesbians or lesbianism, because they're taken at a young age. And even though some of these folks, there's a friend that had a conversation that, she'd been putting out since she was 14, and that she was made to feel that she had to have sex with someone, even if it was a girl. And then one day, after getting thrown in jail and cleaning her system out and having a vision of her own, she realized, oh my God, that was just all fakery and poofery and clouds and smoke. Somebody threw a smoke bomb in, and oh my God. Then they can see past that little portion of reality. So I hope this is making sense, because part of me is going, did that make sense? But the universal yin and yang, just understand we can still work to calm things. But if we think that it's going to go away altogether, the answer is no. Could it be less brutal, but still have arguments and debates, and maybe somebody punches somebody? Okay, all right. But if we can stomp out war and that kind of thing, then we have one. Whether it's a total defeat and you sign, sign the paper, old man, sign the paper. Anybody know who that was? Fire Sign Theater back in 1969 or 70. Sign the papers, old man. So, but anyway, in our nostalgic look at it, it's like, do we have to get huffy about this? Can we literally get along? Now, you can still be mean and do stuff over there and gamble and stuff, but if you do it within your little community and you're honestly not hurting anybody, because that's where we want to draw the line, no hurting the folks. Um, I'm sorry, I had listened to a podcast of this thing with, Elliot versus Elaine or Paige. And I mean no disrespect, but this changing your gender and then changing their name, and now they have to go back to all these movies and change her name to his name. What? Seriously? I mean, can we just not let it slide? Because it's already happened. But anything here in the future, you will be Elliot, not Elaine. Or, nope, nope, got to go back and fix all this. Nope, it can't be done. Nope, we have to do it like this. And are we not like seriously going way too far? Because someone's feelings may be hurt. I've had my feelings slapped up against brick walls and shit, you know. So, but this idea though, if you can't take a little bit of joking or teasing, or as a couple of people have stated, you know, look, we don't know what this cis stuff is. We've read up on it. We ain't got a clue what you're all talking about. Now, I know a gay couple who are having a similar issue with a teenage boy girl. A trans cis something can on Monday they're wearing skirts. On Tuesday there it's a bikini underneath of light. Wednesday it's full out wearing a jock strap and a thing and a cup, and we're gonna go out and we're gonna be men and play sports. And then by Saturday, they're going to go shopping again, and they got their heels and they've changed again. And they can't make up their mind. Um, and I know that in my teenage years, there was weirdness going on, but not like there is today. Of all these different choices that, well, I'm not sure of who I am, though. Well, then you're going to go over there and sit with the group W folks, and you're going to think about it. Oh, but no, because if you don't know who you think you are, be quiet so you can hear your own thoughts and find out who this person is in this orange jumpsuit that was at this event and you were arrested. Okay. I don't want to. You're doing this against my rules or regs or what. Okay. But you better take advantage of a little bit of time ago. I think I better find out what I am or ain't talking about. So, but there are a lot of mainstream gay folk, lesbian, male, so forth, that are not happy. And here was one of the comments they said, you know, it was one it was one thing that we had to put up with it for the whole month of June. But honey, this is July. Put your stuff away. You don't have a whole month. Put your stuff away. And I was like, what? Serious. All right, honey, you've had enough. You've had a month to flaunt it. Now put it up and go back to work. Thank you. Thank you. Back in my day and age of kids growing up, that would not have happened. Period. There would have been old creepy men. There still are, I'm sure. I bet there's old creepy women too. Don't leave them out. Um, because after it was all said and done, this woman, who much older than this young man, severely messed up with his head. And our hormones as people are flaring all over the place. We're trying to figure out how each of us has a point to be here, because each of us does have a point to be here. You affect other folks, you yin or yanging it, you know. Hey, youngster, uh, you're a yin yanger. Oh, never mind. Um, both must exist at the same time for the harmony of the chaos. Now, I find that I have talked about the chaos and the energies and stuff over the years, but to actually connect to subroutines, one's for filing papers and another little subroutine runner thingy is how the local robot in the beverage machine over there makes your coffee right. But they're built with the same materials. They're built with intelligence and so forth. There are close tolerances, meaning that they were well built, not just, you know, literally garbage over there, nail it, hack it, or whatever together. So there's pride in that, and there should be. But this idea, and I'm taking it from what the gay men were talking about, honey, you've had a whole month now. Put your stuff away. I think it's great. A nice way to put it. You've had a whole month. Now put your stuff up and go back to sort of being some kind of normal or something. Not so outrageous off the wall. Hey, babies, look at me. So, all these other gay women and men, married and so forth, leading married lives. They go home together in the evenings. They sit around and do the same thing that a man woman would do or whatever, and maybe not argue as much or whatever, but who knows? Um, but they take their own time, right? So what's that got to do with me and you? It's because there are those folks who would want to make me somehow part of their program. I'd wear a dress. I don't know. Look at me and hey, little boy, can I show you how to twerk to get you so you can make extra tips? I don't think so. But the idea that it's all going to go away, that ain't happening either. And I think it was like the when the white men showed up on the coast, right? They were like, "Who is this, folks? If we give him enough gold, maybe he'll go away and never come back. We're going to try to pay him off." It didn't work. They came back for more, right? With more guns and rifles and people. And this whole entire continent was lost to them, folks. So if they conquered the United States, now this is how far back the story goes. It goes further back than that, but the Illuminati and folks and the bishops and the Jesuits, them mofos. They're in some of the Catholic notes, you know how these Jesuits were literally brutal and killing people and branding them and stuff. And you've seen some of them weird Catholic movies where they're got this victim tied down and they're gonna put some kind that stuff kind of sort of depending on the sect, sect, depending on the sect, they are very abusive to the nuns. and they sodomized them. They've had gotten nuns pregnant and then abort the child or let it, uh, kill it after it's born and buried next to, in near the convent. They found a bunch of that stuff over the years, and there's still stuff out there ain't nobody found yet. So what has this got to do with the yin and yang? Because it's something that's already transpired. These people did these acts, and as far as anybody knows, they survived when they should have been hung or something, or at least brought to trial and spent some time in jail for their cruelty. But that didn't happen, right? So now we got a chance to be dignified about the matter. When they go, see that one over there, that's that one. Those are the kind of like, nah, no, you ain't pulling me with that one. You ain't gonna blame it on somebody else. You mofos that, and you and your organization that go back thousands of years to some of the Sumerian texts and stuff like that. So some of them old folk were bad old folk. Most of them just got old, but their secrets were that they had life experiences to be able to discuss. Like me, for example, I try to stay out of the mess, but I'm my best worst enemy. So, but anyway, how do we fix these things? We are aware of the fact that they want to hurt us. We keep these thoughts pure and say, no, I'm sorry, I'm working for the good guys. If you all try this, I will stand up. That's all. And mean it. You don't have to go out and just make your own conviction and go, man, like that guy out in Kansas, and they're making up all types of excuses to how all them cows died. And it was like you could hear somebody in the background, my cows, I'll kill that son bitch if I ever find him, and it's like, ooh, yeah, right. You lose, 300 head of cows in this one area. But overall on his farm, he lost over 3,000, you know, um, medium to large size, and because they were, had been given to the baby and all that kind of thing. But anyway, after the birthing, so, but why is this all connected? Because that's just it. Even in the Chinese thing, it says that all things are are similar. Um, I would say that it's simply because the idea or the thought exists, therefore it is. And if it's nothing more than a thought, but 2 or 3 or 10 people thought of it, then it becomes an idea of sorts, which is more powerful than just a regular old picture. 2015 proof of U.S. and pharmaceutical companies and cooperation. Yep. The track of courage in this world causes lots of problems. Yes, it does. Captain Shackleton. Oh, the guy that went to the North Pole, I think. He was on one of the islands. Um, Maybe it wasn't Shackleford that went to the North Pole. Maybe it was the South. But anyway, to the point. Yeah, he kept his men alive. Uh, it would have been the North Pole. And French Canadian and so forth. But anyway, so with what they're proposing, which is more chaos upon some more chaos, there's a lot of these folks that are going, you know, they tried to start the riots, didn't work. They tried to do this, didn't work. They tried to do it, manipulate the storyline. They didn't do it. So if you're at war and you've made all these plans that if enemy does this, you're going to do this. You're going to counter with this. And if the enemy does this, then you're going to counter with this. Well, after you go down this list and you ain't got nowhere because the enemy isn't necessarily so bad, they got a lot of intense administration up here, and as far as good old brain power, because they ain't stupid. They flew millions of miles in a spaceship. They got it on us, right? I mean, it's hard for a lot of folks just to accept the concept, but it has been going on. It is going on. A lot more talks about the EVAs with UFOs. I can't remember that new unidentified vehicle, UAP or something anyway. But so here's the thing. Have you made a decision as to what side you're on? Are you going to work for the good guys no matter what? Yeah, they've probably done a couple of heinous things along the way. They probably blowed up a truck or two. They probably had to kill a couple of people because they were so doggone irritatingly bad and had caused so much death and destruction themselves. They just said, "Yeah, you're out of here. We ain't even taking you to jail." UAP, thank you, Susie. Unidentified aerial phenomena. I mean, look, mommy, there's a weird object in the sky. Oh, it looks like your Uncle Charles's nutsack. It is his nutsack. He's hanging upside down from the willow tree. Never mind. I have been Carlos Castanedated in here. No, Mencina. And he was like, I'm from Honduras. We immigrated here. We took our citizenships and we love America. And while all these other folks are arguing and, oh, America's so bad and this and that, he was like, man, y'all need to take a look at what you really actually have. And so he's one crazy mofo, but on one of the networks, it was either Hulu or Netflix, but he's got a special, and it's 2017, but he has a bunch of stuff nail on the head, and I laughed my ass off. It was a good laugh, needed to. But anyway, so the yin and yang and things, if you're crying all the time, that's too much darkness. So you got to laugh, you got to play, you've got to be the other side. So if you think I'm not going to go out and kill somebody because you want to dwindle their numbers down, but I might, depending on my level of spydom, I might want to do something like piss in their shoe or I don't know, something that would humiliate them or whatever. And be done with it. Take that old airplane and buzz the tower one time before you set her down. So, but anyway, dear friends, there are so many things to look at, but the biggest thing, they are all connected, just like we are connected to each other in the universe. We are the league of like-minded beings. We are the soul tribe family. We are part of the universe of all peoples and races and creeds and all that stuff. And so we need to learn how to play in the sandbox. Now, something that was brought up years ago about the, is ET going to land on the thing and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, no. Number one, we need to keep our distance from them because some of them may well be contaminated because they're from another planet. They're from an off-world site, and we should be careful as to not contaminate them. So are they going to land on the lawn, and are we going to run out there and give each other big hugs and be all girly about it? No, can't. But there will be emissaries who will come, and we'll see how this goes, right? And one was supposed to be Valiant Thor or something. We'll see. Um, but the people who are still trying to whack us are still going to try to whack us. And even if they stop trying to whack us, we still have all these things that have already taken place. There are people who are set up ready to go shoot at a bunch of kids at a bus stop because this plan has been going on for a long time. And they want to see it. They really want to see it come to fruition. And maybe they want that 1,000 years of peace so they don't have to screw with this planet anymore. But I ain't giving up a fight. Little granny ladies all over the place, they don't want to give up. They don't want to give up their houses. They don't want to have to give up their memories, because, well, it's better for y'all if you just did this. Not to us, just saying. So some of the bad guys have misjudged our humanity's resilience, from little old granny ladies to little kids with a stick. No, mister, you ain't doing that to us. Huh, no. I want to go visit. I want to become friends, but you want to do what? To whom and why? Nope. And you want me to put my hands behind my back so you can bind? No. So, the best offense is a good defense, right? So, defend yourself with knowledge. Don't go freaking out, but do a little bit more information, if you can, about what some of these beings might be, because what's in that rig out there, right? Um, there's all kinds of stuff in it. So you need to catalog it, see what it is. Maybe save a couple of rounds, or there's some kind of Star Wars, booty gun or something. Who knows? But we need to learn as much as we can about these other folk out there for our own protection. If Bob shows up, I want to recognize him. Hey, Bob, you want some coffee? Is that doable? Or is there something else I can get you? Hey, Bob, I'd love to meet Bob, the AI. That'd be cool. So, but apparently these things can exist. So, like yin and yang fit together, but they're opposite sides. Not necessarily to kill each other, but they're on opposite sides. Well, as long as the game's played fairly and no one's really trying to hurt another person, which is against the cosmic law, then y'all go for it. If you're that tired and you want to go out and have a fight with some 16-year-old kid with a big stick, go for it. We'll sit here and watch before we go to bed. You know. So a lot of thoughts running through my head like little tiny movies. Have y'all been blasted? Um, about a week ago, something that just seemed like it went off. I mean, just whatever. Subset reality is just different. The grass is a different shade of green than it was. Could be all the rain we've had, and the chlorophyll. Um, if we had some chloroform, we could put that SOB out of his misery, shut him up. I'm speaking about the guy that's always yapping at us. And he is the spokesperson for them folk who wish us dead. And so we just got to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm dozing off here a little bit, but I still got my eye on you, and so is my friend Susie, and Super, 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 super. I miss you. And CD and Mark and all these other people, and Elderberry, and, and Chloe. And so when we are aware of the situation, if you're going down the bumpy road and you're racing, and you know that you have lost a shock absorber before, it's brutal through this one area where farmers always drive down a dirt road. And so if you're aware that there are ruts there that will eat up the underside of your car or vehicle, the knowledge of it possibly being there is that you are aware and you slow down. Where other people get to that spot and go, oh, holy crap. And it's blah, 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 and you can see their car or vehicle jumping all over the place because it's that nasty. And a big, deep crevasse has opened up because we had 3.5 inches of rain in just a few hours yesterday, and some more today. Total 3.5 inches. But anyway, so when you are aware that there's a pothole coming, some people just boom, drive right over it. I slow down and try to avoid it to one side, or at least go in slow instead of wrecking your front end. So in this going into other dimensions, like from the 5th to the 7th, that is a badass jump. So one of the reasons why you stay in the dimensions that you're in is to learn all you can about that particular dimension. And if you don't have all the information, you don't get automatically promoted. Now, as a shaman in training, you've got to be able to at least identify it, work through it, however it works around, but that you need to do it because it makes you stronger, it makes you wiser, it makes you more alert without being frantic. And that's always a good thing, especially when these folks are, pointing their laser guns at us. But so we can't freak out about it. We just got to take in stride. When I went to the grocery store today, I bought a couple of extra cans of dog food just because. Another loaf of bread, even though I've got one in the freezer. My other one's almost gone. Um, and I bought mostly only the things I really needed. But I did splurge and spend $6 on a Danish, big, big, big Danish, big piece of pastry. So it'll take me several days to eat it, probably about a week. But that's to gift myself of some cake for a job well done of making sure that I'm still here, whether I flubbed it up or not. Should have did this, and when I did that, or whatever. Yeah, it's the cream cheese one, Susie. When I saw it in the freezer, I was like, oh man. Once a month, I allow myself to splurge. It used to be once a week, and sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. That's why I weigh 250 pounds. But I'm, mean, full of muscle. A friend of mine came down the driveway, and I got my shirt off, but my gut wasn't really sticking out, but I was just relaxed. And yeah, nice little pooch, but it's 70. What the hell, right? But I was like, dude, I can suck mine in. You can't. And I was like, wait. It ain't like I was trying to, but I've made my choice that being overweight at any age is just not worth the extra tonnage. So, but in this understanding of all of these things, the yin and the yang. Well, if I'm really fat, well, then skinny people are going to whoop the shit out of me. Oh, God. All the skinny people are going to be able to run around. Whoa, look, there's an obese couple. Yeah, Can't catch me. You know, oh God Almighty. What a vivid imagination I have. If you could see in here, you all would freak out. But I have witnessed that even between certain commentators, they have got to the point where, you know, that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Petty junction. That, we can't pick on this guy too bad because it's going to make us look bad. Yeah, but we need to pick on him. You know why? Because everybody around the world would think that he's normal. No, no, he's not normal. No, not at all. Somebody maybe needs to sit down with a big old ganji stick and poke it in his mouth and say, "Here, Ja, inhale for God's sakes. Take some of that whatever it is that's stuck to you out of there." So you've seen. Ooh, that was a good. Looked like two tadpoles in a way, right, or whatever. And there's a white dot on the black side, and then there's a black dot on the white side. Is that an eye? I always wondered about that. But the duality of things, I get confused because it sounds like when they're talking about the duality of things, there's a lot of mumbo jumbo talkity stuff. That at the end of the day, what the did they just say? They gave me 30 minutes of a lecture and reading. What the did they just say? What do you mean by that? Well, you weren't paying attention. Oh hell, yes I was. I just you were doing some of that double talk stuff. And so, having listened to this on and off and back around, it does boil down to communication. So what you know we in the United States calls the hood of the car, in Britain and other places it's called the bonnet. Okay, it's not the hood. So these all nuances. You say, well, Dave, you mentioned this and that and this and that. The crazy thing about it is, though, because of this chaos, it's cohesive. It's a part of it. I'm a part of it. You're a part of it. And for every time I want to step out and go, nee, 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 that's a part of it too, which is interesting. But the balance of things ends up being a pendant that's round, circle, circle of life. How about that? Going back over things if you need to, and maybe practicing again. And but now you got these symbols inside your circle, and one is the female energy and so forth, and one is the male. Now, who burned down the mission? Huh? Who burned down the mission? Was it the guys or was it the gals? They both burned down the mission. That's the answer. Burn down the mission if you want to stay alive. It's your only chance for living. Keep all the. Anyway, Elton John. That was a good. That was a good song. It still is. But anyway, so I must leave you all. This is just contemplation. The answer to this mess for us individually is not to get caught up in the chaos. That's the biggest thing. We got to keep an eye on it for damn sure. but we got to just stay out of it for our own sanity. And so we don't lend our energy to them. In other words, if they're collecting what some people call louche, negative energies and so forth, so you tell somebody, listen, you got to do what we tell you. And I'm going to be the first one to go, wait a minute now, hang on. What are you talking about? Little smiley you over there, I see you. What? No, you have to believe us. You have to, okay, but you need to give me some detail before I up and leave all my possessions, belongings, and stuff because you said something. I might want to stay here as far as, getting evacuated or whatever for some reason, right? Well, we know it's best for you. Not always, and sometimes not at all, but um, so we continue on with life. Find foods that you can, new foods that you can cook up. Um, I'd say that for the next year and a half, it's going to be really strange. So learn to eat smaller portions. Learn to eat 1 to 2 meals a day instead of three and bunches of stuff on the side. Because how are any of us going to survive the apocalypse if we're 15 to 30, 50 pounds overweight? We're not going to be healthy enough. So, and we're going to be hungry all the time. That creates issues mentally, physically, and psychologically. So, we want to save this. We might, we need to have dialogue between us, whoever the entities are, whether it's between neighbors or municipalities or whatever, because there's always going to be a disagreement. There's always going to be somebody's going to feel like they got took advantage of. There's always going to be that, but we can do our best to mitigate it, to calm it down, and let it get instead of getting out an Uzi or a machine gun. And no, we're gonna break out the cookies and have cookies and milk, and then we'll talk about it. But my friends, I love you. It's been 2 hours and how many minutes? 7 minutes. How about that? Uh, but love vanilla ice cream with peanut butter. I understand you're fighting eating a cupcake. When I get done yapping with y'all, I'm going to go out for another piece of Danish. I've got yay wide I cut a piece once a month. That I don't know if it's reopened or not, but there were some folks who had started a bakery, and oh my goodness, really good stuff. And when the 19 stuff hit, there were those were one of the businesses that got hit. And what a shame. One of my favorite eateries was out of place. It was the Market Diner in Thomasville, where the farmers market is. Oh my God, the food and the best macaroni and cheese you'll ever put in your mouth, but it's gone now. But love you too, Miss Susie. Thank you. Um, and again, we got some heavy duty stuff coming in, and oh, there's supposed to be, I guess, a comet or a big rock or something that's supposed to hit in September, round about my birthday. Woo! How about that? I might have some big fireworks for my birthday. Holy crap! But anyway, so please stay safe. Please, keep sanity. And if things get too bad, then call the door and have somebody talk you down. The door was a suicide crisis center in Tampa. So if things got too rough in any way, you could always call the door and say, "Talk me down, man. Talk me down." Okay. Um, So anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see how this stuff plays out. I mean, honest to God. But please don't get your panties in a bunch. And you ladies neither, all right? I can't believe that some of these guys are wearing these undies now. But anyway, uh, my brain is on a really strange side trip this evening or this morning. But trying to get well again after, really 2 or 3 bad days last week of throwing up and all that good stuff. So y'all be cranky and uh, belligerent too. Stay alive. Keep it together. No fear. That's right. No fear, Susie. No, we need to take one foot and put it in front of the other. And even if it takes us all day to take that one step, we need to make it. You know, we can change our mind along the way or when we get there. But anyway, I love you all. I ask the Creator and all of the angels to send you love and light, all of my dear friends, because I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to accept the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe, and how you can get really good at accepting these things. Me and Duggar, every day we go outside, we continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. Universe? And in that law of three that's important to me still, how we continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. Just keep your ears open, and if it looks a little too weird, take a picture. What's that, Melvin? I don't know. Are those eyes? I don't know. Is that, wait a minute. One of them eyes is coming after us. Oh, Lord have mercy. Night, night. Oh, try the garlic? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I got my neck is in a stuck position because I've been sitting around doing this here thing. But y'all, please stay safe, okay? And we gotta find joy in the world, like the butterfly, and we need to keep smiling despite what's going on, because for every day we are still alive, we've beaten them, and we have upset their plan. And nothing could tickle me better than to see the jailers have a bad day and it fall right back on them. You know what I mean? So be a pirate in your own domain. All right. Until next time, Susie and Mark. Good to see you, Mark, and whoever else is up the thing that I need to scroll to. Uh, I do love you all, and send a little prayer for me. Just in that whatever sickness was at me is gone till I get to the doctor. Thank you, my friends. And Duggar says adios too. So until next time, be sweet. Keep it between the ditches. Cheers, everybody. Oh, wait. Crap in a bag. Here we go. I'm really tired and stoned. So be sweet, y'all. Till next time, TTFN, be the frequency you wish to receive. Adios.